The Cheating Death podcast is a satirical program containing objective and direct and transparent information about anything and everything from under the sun. We are not political, nor are we religious. We are a bit analytical and perhaps a wee bit prodigious. The nature of today's world is not lost upon the souls in whom must traverse it each and every day. And you know this yourself as you have chosen to listen to the Cheating Death podcast. On today's episode of the Cheating Death podcast, we provide insight on the H.A.A.R.P project in Fairbanks, Alaska, what its potential implications for international weather could be, the phenomenon in which keeps it so covert, and why it was utilized and created in the first place. We also provide you with an all-new Annihilation Announcement, an all-new top 5 list of our favorite global cities, and, dear listener, a new joke of the episode, and much, much more. So by now, dear listeners, you know what to do. Grab yourself an iced coffee, put your feet up, and let us tell you how you can cheat death. This is your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this is your Annihilation Announcement. Ask yourself a question, dear listener. Have you given yourself the love that you deserve today? Have you looked yourself in the mirror and have you recognized just how hard you have fought to get to where you stand at this very moment? Have you given yourself the grace that you give others and the space and time to allow yourself to move forward in a way, shape, and form that does not disintegrate with the delineation and the degradation of our physical vessels? No? Well, dear listeners, we may have to change that because each and every single day, regardless of the calamities and the cataclysms you face, we must always do our best to start with an eager beginning, with an affront to the very testament of the cruelty of the world in which we dwell. We must move forward in a way that is not specific, nor is it vague. We must meet somewhere in the middle and give ourselves plenty of opportunity to accomplish what we set out to achieve. From our very early ages, we are put through a system that is designed to break us, that is designed to mold us and shape us into obedient 9-to-5 corporate workers, or individuals in whom are associated and involved with the trades professions, or individuals in whom may be set up to run businesses that their families have run for generations. Either which way you look at it, dear listener, it cannot be lost on those in whom are fully aware that each and every single person alive could use a bit more patience, grace, love, and space in their lives. Take into consideration how many people you see on social media doing their very, very best to keep people in the dark about what the true natures and elements of their lives are, about how they are shaped, how they go through struggles, trials, and tribulations of their own, and how at the end of each and every single day they still sleep on the same beds that we find ourselves upon. They still do what they can in the end to provide themselves with a little bit of solace. This is not lost on the vast majority of society, dear listeners, for we find ourselves in a position where we ask ourselves questions that don't necessarily have easy answers, yet we still do not give ourselves the space to find the solution in which we seek. We look in the mirror and ask ourselves many questions, but do we ever tell ourselves that we are worthy, that we are capable, that we can and we will succeed? These questions, dear listener, are not lost on those in whom are provided an opportunity to see exactly what must be done in order to go about their day in a most jovial way. Absolutely not. For when we approach the time that we ask ourselves exactly how we feel, what we think, what we do, these situations, scenarios, and areas of opportunity are part of each and every single soul in whom dwells upon this fair planet. We do what we can in the world that we live in to breathe, to burn the candle at both ends. But what we must do is take a step back and take a look at the bigger picture. For life is a marathon, it is not a sprint. And we need to give ourselves more opportunity and more grace to see exactly what lies ahead. This has been your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this has been your Annihilation Announcement. Willkommen, meine Freunde. Guten Morgen, guten Tag und eine gute Nacht. Ist deine Reisende und deine Ausländer, deine Allesfresser, deine Schauspieler, deine Vernichter. Und ich bin bereit, meine Freunde, für ist die Last, ist der Time, ist Armee der Tristen, was die Dynasty fiernes der euch meine Tränen. Und heute ist ein schöner Tag, meine Freunde. For today, we dive into one of the most divisive meteorological devices ever devised and known to man. Today, we are talking about the H.A.A.R.P project, otherwise known as the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. Ladies and gentlemen, are you aware of the weather changing in severity and frequency throughout the years ever since the late 90s and early 2000s? Well, given the nature and the dynamics of how meteorological events are measured and weighed, the American government figured it was about time for Alaska to be utilized in a more constructive way. For as you may be well aware, Alaska is a very beautiful and a very large state located at the northwestern portion of North America, directly west of the Yukon Territory in Canada, directly north of the Pacific Ocean, and directly east of the Eastern Russia and Asia. Note, dear listener, that the purpose officially for this particular program is to research the ionosphere and to measure and to weigh different implementations of weather patterns and formats over the course of time, and how their implementation and changes can openly and ultimately impact the weather systems all around the world. For you see, the location of which is Gakona, Alaska, which also is operated at this location by the University of Alaska Fairbanks, officially established and incorporated in 1993. Note, dear listeners, that the ideology for the program began and initiated by former Republican United States Senator Ted Stevens, who in his own right helped win the approval for the facility, and at which point, 3 years later, construction would begin. Note, dear listeners, that officially the purpose of the H.A.A.R.P program, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program Research Station, is to look at the weather patterns and formats and see exactly how the world could be in terms of how it operates and various high-frequency bands. The project in and of itself has a wide array of antennae, directing a 3.6 megawatts signal within the 10 megahertz region of the high-frequency band of the ionosphere. It starts and begins at approximately 2.8 and includes both VHF and UHF radars. Understand that within this particular organization, as well as this site, that optical cameras are also utilized to a significant degree, incorporates navigational and submarine communication systems, and also possesses the capability to remotely sense any particular content that could be of the mineral variety. Note, dear listener, that the University of Alaska Fairbanks, along with other American institutions, have taken great interest in this particular facility, including but not limited to the University of Maryland, Johns Hopkins University, College Park, Massachusetts Amherst University, and of course, everyone's favorite, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. We look at the reasoning behind the research and everything associated and designated within this particular program, and officially, the main purpose of this facility is to research the ionosphere, the weather changes and shifts and patterns that are associated with high-frequency active auroral research, and we note that in this time, that there are a litany of examples of individuals in whom believe that the program is actually utilized to control, manipulate, and identify weather patterns globally, to cause cataclysmic shuffles and complete environmental destruction, all in the name of avarice and greed. It is also to be noted that due to a significant level of concern, as well as significant issues, that H.A.A.R.P was temporarily shut down in 2013. The official explanation for the 60 to 90 day shutdown was a change in contractors. However, it is also noted that during this time there were a significant level of disarray in weather patterns and formats globally, also combining with the location and the identification of the proverbial God particle by the CERN division and the scientists within. Are these two coincidences happening only mere months away from each other? Not necessarily, for you see, when it comes to the capabilities of this particular array, note, dear listener, it is not lost on American people, both in Alaska and throughout the continental United States proper, the devastation that this device is capable of putting out into the world. Scientists at Caltech have openly spoken out against the H.A.A.R.P program and have identified that it is doing more harm than good. And as of 2008, the project had spent approximately $250 million on active research, as well as further development. We ask ourselves, what is the potential for disaster with this particular program? Look no further, dear listener, than the amounts of calamities that have happened in severe and intensifying scales over the years. Do a little bit of questioning and identify exactly what it is that makes this particularly normally seemingly mundane program so interesting to those in whom are looking to further their own interests. The High Frequency Atmosphere Active Auroral Research Program is not lost on those in whom have had to work or provide contracting services, and it is duly noted that the vast majority of individuals there have not been able to speak candidly about their experiences. Take that what you will, do as you wish, and may you understand that this particular program still has much information to provide. Until next time, dear listener, thank you for tuning in today. Take care of yourself and each other. At the top of today's episode, we promised you a list of our current top 5 favorite cities all around the world. And without further ado, let us dive right in. Coming in at number 5, we have one of the most beautiful cities in the world, and that would be Paris, France. Coming in at number 4, we have Milan, Italy. Coming in at number 3, we have New York City, New York. Coming in at number 2, we have Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And of course, dear listeners, coming in at number 1, we have Leipzig, Germany. What are your top 5 favorite cities? Feel free to email us at thecheatingdeathpodcast@gmail.com. Today's joke has been brought to you by the Cleric of Chaos. Once upon a time, a friend told me that we were going to go visit a harp, and it was of great excitement, as one would assume that you are about to hear some lovely angelic music that is not matched by any other instrument on the planet. Imagine my surprise when I landed in Fairbanks, Alaska, only to look up at a bunch of steel towers and wires, asking oneself, is this really what your definition of fun is? And he simply replied, fun? I thought we were going to visit the research project, to which it was identified at this point that he had no intention of specifying a musical endeavor, for his plague was that of the novel variety. There have been numerous bits of speculation over the years as to whether or not the H.A.A.R.P project is indeed a clandestine military effort in order to further destabilize weather patterns throughout the Pacific Northwest as well as throughout the entire world proper. However, the information that is provided to those of whom are researching meteorological events as well as their impacts seem to be at somewhat of an impasse, ladies and gentlemen. When we look at the structure and the sequences of how weather has evolved over the course of the last several millennia, we understand that we as human beings try every single possible way we can to manipulate and to work within the confines of the structures in which we find ourselves in. That which we cannot control, we always attempt to influence in ways, shapes, and forms that take the standard status quo of each and every single era in which that subject or topic is broached and approached. We do what we can to see what within the sky provides us answers, whether it be a stratocumulus cloud or a clear sunny day. There are no ways for us to identify what specifically evolves itself into a new dynamic or into a potentially cataclysmic event. For all we know, Oklahoma and Tornado Valley never used to be that way up until the 20th century, but we know firmly and full well, dear listener, that the American heartland has been subject to many a cataclysm over the course of the past couple of centuries, and it is not lost on those that Hurricane Katrina was significant in devastation. Over the years, the H.A.A.R.P project has proven to be a very divisive topic for anyone whom so shall chooses to discuss the parameters and circumstances in which it is used for. But Alaska itself is an anomaly. There is quite a bit still unexplored about the great state, and a lot of people have questions that need to be answered. Until next time, dear listeners, thank you for tuning in today. Take care of yourselves and each other. The Cheating Death Podcast is brought to you by Annihilation Announcement, Cleric of Chaos, where you can find all podcasts on all platforms. If you would like to support the program, you may do so by purchasing some merchandise, buying a cameo, buying us a coffee, or much, much more. We would like to thank Julian as well as Major Chip for their generous donations to the program, and we gratefully appreciate your candor. Please follow the program as well as the Cleric of Chaos on all social medias listed in the links in the episodes of the podcast description. And each and every single one of our associate producers, our friends, our comedians, our actors, and our lovely artists extraordinaire, follow them and each and every single one of their social medias in the pinned profile post, as well as in the podcast description as well. If you or anyone you know is experiencing gambling abuse, substance withdrawal, or any emergency calamity, please consult the telephone numbers listed in the telephone section of the podcast description as well. If you are seeking a cute puppy or a playful kitten, please visit your local animal adoption rescue center as they are in dire need of your support, and visit yummypets.com/voice to sign up for a free account and click the button every day to give shelter animals an opportunity to acquire 330 pounds of free kibble at the end of the month. Dear listeners, we know you are a Leviathan of legend, an individual in whom is doing their best to get through each and every single day. All we ask is that you continue to wage war upon mediocrity, and you fight with everything you have to give yourself the life that you have earned. Remember, we are pulling for you. We are all in this together.